What's up everybody, Soul here with another Sword of Convallaria video, and today I will be talking about Tower of Adversity, difficulty 5 and 6. I will not show you the difficulty 5 battle. I'm just going to jump right into 6. I'll explain the differences in between the two battles in a few ways, but I'm primarily just going to show you how I cleared 6 and explain the fight overall and the mechanics of those fights, and hopefully that'll help you if needed to beat those fights. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So starting off here, we're going to start with difficulty 6, lower zone. And so as you can see, I have chosen to bring in Pamina, Agatha, Momo, Sophia, OG Sophia that is, Gloria, and Coco. It's highly important to have a defender. As you can see, you got Tranquilo here. He's our target, and he's going to be creating these units and sending them in waves to defeat these civilians. These civilians spawn every once in a while with a militia defender, and your goal is to guide them across, which you're not taking active control of them, but to ensure that they get across and protect them. As you can see right here, we have the main character, and they will have an array of tactics to use to their advantage, whether it's buffing your allies or healing the units on screen, or creating towers and traps for the opponent. I'll go through some of what they can do and explain how I overcame the fight. So first things first, we're set up a tower instantly. Those towers do great work. They attack twice per round per tower. It's really, really good. And they do great damage. They one-shot the assassin type enemies that come up and hit. You primarily have 4 types of enemies that are going to be attacking you. You've got an Abyss, you've got these Shadow Assassins, you've got these Dark Breaker-esque people, and then you've got these mutations. These people, these like zombies. This looks like zombies. Pamina comes over. We're gonna go ahead and taunt all those guys, stick her right in the middle. Pamina can more or less hold a whole side on her own if built right. I have a guide on that. If you're interested, check her out. She is phenomenal. Sophia and that piercing damage does great work. Here comes our assassin. Even though he's got type advantage, Pamina is just not bothered at all. Now these zombie mutation people, the dark light mutation, they're nasty. Mutators, I think is what they're called actually. They're gross. They do have high stats, and they're hard to kill. Momo laying them out. Just takes out all 4 of them in one strike. And there's those 2 strikes from our tower. And then, of course, the quote-unquote civilians are going to start making their move across. We create another tower. Now, for me, if you notice, I'm placing the towers here in the middle. Let me make a note of these towers. Not only are they hitting twice and they do pretty decent damage, but you can use them as extra terrain to guide not only these units, the civilians, but to screen and protect them. And that's what I'm doing here. These towers are pretty chunky. They can take multiple attacks for dying, and they can be healed. Good thing about those Abyss units, as you saw, Gloria just outright took her out one hit. They are very, very squishy. They do want to cast a big AoE. I have no idea what that AoE does, and I never wanted to find out. And to be honest, I'm happy not knowing. Just kill them as fast as you can. Really good stuff there. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the fight. That mutator is gnarly. He's capable of doing some pretty big damage. You're going to want to have a unit just dedicated to taking them off as fast as possible. There's Agatha. Agatha's so good because not only is she shredding these units, she's got type advantage because of her being a watcher. She's also healing our units. There's that tower doing work to those assassins. And as you can see, it needs 2 shots to kill those guys, but regardless, those towers are phenomenal. We got 2 abysses up. As you saw, we created a 3rd tower. What's going to happen is primarily from the right, you're going to have a lot more assassin units spawning in. And then, of course, you've got these units as well right here. Let's see what they're even called. Darklight Axemen. And so these assassins are coming in. They're going to rush into these guys as fast as possible, and they have tons of movement. And then these Axemen are just going to come straight forward, billowing forward like there's not much thought to them. Your abysses are primarily spawning down here on the bottom, as well as your mutators. These mutations, yeah. These mutants, as they're called. Sorry, I'm calling them everything else. Anyways, the mutants spawn down here primarily. You will get occasional mutant up here, but for the most part, all of your assassins are spawning up on the right, and your mutants and dark light or abysses are spawning down at the bottom. Getting them out of the way, killing them. Momo's alert is phenomenal. You do have a series of buffs that you can cast from the main character to enhance your units. I actually found that I didn't use them too much. I might have to use them difficulty 7, but I'm very happy going with the traps and utilizing them. The problem I have with the buffs is not only are they expensive, but they also only target 1 unit from what I'm seeing, and I don't care for that. Whereas, we need to talk about that. The points you're getting to summon these abilities come from these units making it across the finish line. Each time a unit crosses the finish line, they're awarding points to the main character and allowing them points to summon and or buff your team. As you can see here, you get a multitude of buffs right here. Grand Show, Raging Battle Fury, and Engraving Resonance. Engraving Resonance is just what it sounds like. You're getting a full refund and a cooldown reset on an ability that's used, but it's the next active still, so make sure you use it correctly. Don't put it on someone and have them use an instant ability, or else you just scorned it. You burned yourself and wasted it. Yeah, and then you've got things like Grand Show or Garrison. It's going to do bonus damage to out of their turn, and then Raging Fury. The lower health they have, the more damage they're doing. And then that Grand Show, it's going to basically buff your units that are able to knock back when they hit a collision. It's going to give them a nice little buff on that. And then, of course, you've got your traps. You're going to be able to summon an Outpost Tower. You're going to be able to summon an Explosive Trap, and then a Luxite Pillar. Luxite Pillar, and then to summon the Portal. The Portal I failed to utilize effectively. I'm sure there's great ways to use it. The Luxite Pillar obviously does a heal each turn. This is very much worth getting one of these up, maybe 2. It just depends on your preference. And then, of course, the Explosive Trap. It will do an AoE damage, and it also stops an enemy dead in their tracks and waste their action. Really, really useful, especially for that quick out of jail ability. And it doesn't do damage to friendly units around it, even though it's triggered by enemies. That's nice, so it's not like a barrel. And then Summon Outpost Tower is that turret that we're already using, and these things are phenomenal moving forward. Each time we defeat a unit, we deal damage to Tranquilo. We do not necessarily want to rush Tranquilo and try to do damage to him. We're happy destroying these units to do damage to him. As you can see, he is summoning a ton of them. Great damage from our arrow towers, clearing out some of those units, racking in those points for our main character. There's our Luxite Pillar. We went ahead and made an Explosive Trap too. Great AoE damage from Gloria. Momo with that alert skill to keep our people shielded. As you can see, they're hitting our turrets now, our traps, and it's not really doing much damage. Those things are hardy. We just summon the Divine Archer just to make sure that we got extra coverage there on our units, so that they will target him instead of anything else. The tactics you bring into this fight are really up to you. They're not as important in my opinion. I like Divine Archer. There's that AoE damage. He does get to our unit there. We're not too fussed. Anyways, if you bring Ragnarok, it's fine. You can clear quite a few out. If you bring Divine Archer, it's fine. It really, to me, I didn't use the tactics a lot in this fight. I didn't feel that there was a need to. You probably would really enjoy having like a sort of a flyer Convallaria in this fight. It's absolutely beneficial. Ragnarok, like I said, helps clear those enemies out big time. Warhorn might be good for those mutants because they're so resilient and chunky. But regardless, it's up to you. We build another tower to get more screening, another trap. We don't want them hitting those civilians. Look, all these dudes get all their turns, and there's a lot of them. Very nice. These mutants do have a bit of a resolve, so when you defeat them the first time, they'll recover and get a little bit of HP back. Can be obnoxious. Mina is just such a unit. Can't wait to get her stars up higher. She'd be destroying this map if I had her like 3-starred. Really good stuff. Those towers do one-shot those assassins. Don't do much to those mutants though. Got Iron Pot Stew from Coco. Getting everybody healed up. Get a nice little buff from Gloria. Momo's alert is so big in this fight. So good, that repulsive barrier. Same thing from Pamina. She gets smacked. She doesn't care. She's got that life steal. She hits back hard. Really, really good stuff. As you see, you try to recover there. That resolve. Five's not having it. That gets it dealing some damage. Same thing from her. Getting those heals out. Momo with the AoE slap. Here comes another wave. I really, really enjoyed this fight. But it's over. Now up next, we got this fight right here where we're fighting the Underworld Entangler. And so this thing is a chunker. As you can see, it's got 1.3 million HP. It is massive. You've got lots of flowers across the field. These things are important. They're called medium sprouts. They don't take a lot of damage, and then of course they release different things depending on what's going on. And they'll tell you if you click on them, so you can kind of forecast what to do. They tell you what they spawn. I'll go over that and explain the importance of these. Basically, you're going in on this boss and you're fighting him. He's going to target your unit with a debuff, and it's going to basically let you know he's going to hit him with an acidic like burst. And you're going to want to position your units on these flowers to destroy them with that acidic burst. Now when these flowers die, they're going to spawn these flowers. It tells you right here, 2 toxic blooms when that happens. And so you have to make sure to clear them out for one key reason. Not only are these flowers, when they spawn, their counterparts, when you destroy them, is it doing massive damage to the boss, like 20,000 above. But if the boss's AoE attack, where is this at? I believe it's this one. Yes. Filth Release hits one of these flowers, it's just an outright lose. No matter what, you just lose. And so I'll show you on screen right here. Each time they use that ability, the boss is going to go out 2 grids in a round. The first AoE is going to be in its immediate 2 grids. Then it's going to go 4 to 5 grids out. Then it's going to go 6 to 7 grids out. And so each time you get hit with this debuff, you're going to absolutely need to be sure that you are utilizing that debuff to kill those flowers. So as you see right here, Filth Spore Strength, it's going to hit your units with Filth Spore, which is that debuff. And then that tells you that Entangler adds an extra AoE attack and target the next turn. So you need to take those units and set them next to those flowers so that ability destroys them. As it says right here, removes Filth Spore after triggering the skill. And so the skill's gone, but it kills these flowers outright. Really, really big deal there. Key mechanic of the game. Moving forward, let's play. I am going to increase the speed so we can just get through the fight. And I'll show you quickly what's happening. Now for this fight, I need to talk about that too, don't I? I've got OG Roia, I've got SP Roia, I've got SP Sophia, Tear, Dandelion, and Miguel D. Goat with us too. This dude is amazing in this fight. Really, really good units. I'm going to try to pile them up. We're going to all do a bunch of attacks on them. Miguel's going to slap the boss with his ability Bounty Hunting, giving those buffs to his team. And really, we're just going to slap this thing around. It's a ton of fun. It's highly important you get some knockback in your build. You don't need as much knockback as what I have, but I enjoyed the knockback. The more you have, the better in my opinion, because these flowers can be knocked around, and you just knock them off the edge. It's an easy defeat, and you'll see that some of these flowers require it rather than trying to kill them. White flowers you can kill really quickly. The blue flowers are a lot more resilient, but you still can kill them within a few attacks. But the red flowers, you just want to knock them off and get them gone. Getting those attacks in, really good stuff there. Here's this attack right here. Let's pause it and have a look at it. Now, as you can see right here, it has created a tile. Shallow Swamp. Tile of this type can be covered. Walking in this tile consumes an extra 0.5 movement per tile, and at the end of the turn, if staying in it, the movement is reduced by an additional 1 point. That's an interesting thing because it absolutely does limit your movement, but moreover, as you can see, it's created this debuff, Bound by Sludge. Reduces movement by 5 tiles. It cannot be dispelled or immunized, and then is ineffective when it's not on a swamp tile. So basically, when you step off that swamp tile, it is no longer a concern. It's really important to get them off that swamp tile because the slimes can just keep on waylaying and pounding it. So it's really good to just teleport out. And let's talk about that. For me, tactics that I brought into this fight were teleport. I can highly suggest it. Highly suggest Warhorn. You can go all in on them whenever you want or you're interested. That's less important though. And then I'd say Flag of Convallaria and or Ragnarok are the two that you want to bring in that third slot. Flag of Convallaria is absolutely good in this fight. Back at it. We're waylaying. We're doing damage. We teleport Roia out of that filth. We're just smacking this thing around. This next attack, though, is going to put that debuff on our units, and that's going to allow us to start killing out some of these sprouts. So there it is. As you can see, our units now have this shadowy cover, aura on them, is what I'm going to call it. That's not our turn yet. There we go. And so, right here, it is called, well, can't read it. What do you think about that? It's in Chinese. So we got Mandarin here. Can't read it to you. But regardless, they have created these filth spores on our units. And so we need to move them around to kill these flowers in the immediate area. Because the flower's next ability right here, as you can see it's ready, is this ability. As you can see right here, it shows. This is the range of it. Its first cast will be in the immediate area around it by 2 tiles. So any flowers that are on 2 tiles out, as I showed in the images earlier, are what you need to clear and get out of the way. So units that aren't afflicted with this aren't of consequence. You can put them just about wherever during this turn, but the units that do have this shadowy aura from that debuff need to be moved next to those flowers. It's also good to position in a way that you can take out multiple flowers if possible. As you can see, there they go. And we took out 2 flowers there. But I noticed I moved Dandelion in and away from SP Rowea so that that AoE smacks and doesn't do just extra damage to her. I mean, why would we want that? So we just move him back and over behind it so that it takes the flower out but doesn't also hit somebody else as an extra unit, extra damage. So as you can see, those sprouts are gone and these flowers have spawned. And so now you want to take these flowers out as soon as possible, especially the white flowers, in my opinion. Let's just let this play through. Alright. Let's have a look at them. So we got the silver bloom here. And as you can see right here, a filth parasite. It's not up and within its first turn, but you need to be aware of this. Temporarily leaves the battle and inflicts filth parasite on the target for 1 turn. And so that filth parasite is something of concern. At the end of the turn or being defeated, the silver bloom returns to the battle. This effect cannot be dispelled or immunized. And so when it comes back, it does massive damage. As it says right here, deals piercing damage equal to 100% HP of the target and summons 4 silver blooms. This is a big deal. This will absolutely kill your run. You need to make sure you destroy these things before they're utilizing that ability. And then of course, as you saw right here, they have instant teleports where they can just move around and hit who they want pretty much freely. These blue flowers, on the other hand right here, they inflict 1 stack of green poison on a target for 3 turns, and of course that 1 stack, it loses HP equal to 50% of the caster's magic attack and reduces healing received by 30%. I imagine this is going to be a bigger deal in difficulty 7. However, in difficulty 6, I didn't find that this was too much of a concern, and in fact, you'll see later, I kind of leave these up until it's more convenient for me to deal with them because it's not of a high consequence to clear ASAP. And then of course you have right here these bronze blooms. These bad boys are the ones you want to push off the stage. Okay, so it prepares for 1 turn, then it deals a 300% AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of the character. After casting the skill, the maximum triggered range extends outward by 2 tiles. And so, as you can see, it's doing a lot of damage. We're talking about 300% of 3,688 damage. That's a lot. That's a ton. This will kill you very easily. And so each time it uses it, it's extending that range out 2 tiles. Get these things off the stage ASAP. Don't dawdle. Don't play with it. If you can, within your first turn, get them gone. And don't try to whittle them down by killing them. Knock them off the stage and be done with it. And so that's what we're going to do, as I'll show you right here. We're going to use SP Sophia just to do some extra damage to the boss. If she gets those heals, we're going to smack these guys up with some AoE. Love AoE. OG and SP Rowea are so big in this fight because of their AoE and knockback abilities, which are not really showcased in the knockback right here in this moment. Dandelion's great because he's got some AoE and knockback as well, and he's got range damage, which is really good. And then there's our boy Miguel D. Goat, just knocks that thing off like it's nothing. That dude is so amazing in this fight, it's unbelievable. As you can see, they're teleporting around freely, doing damage. The boss has got his AoE set up. This flower's got its AoE set up. We really need to clear them out and get them gone. And so it's time to do so. Step into the swampy terrain. We're not fussed about it. The damage isn't too bad. We've got some pretty high defense. As you can see, it took an extra attack there for being in that swamp. Oh, Miguel, doing the work. Is that co-attack, co-defense? Back to waylaying on the boss. We got 1 flower left. Miguel the Goat takes him out like nothing with a double knockback. And there's our next debuff. So now we need to get these positioned around these sprouts again. So we move Dandelion over here. Tear, we ignore the scroll, we move him here, take out that one. And we're targeting the sprouts, and the next tile ranges out. So if you notice, 1, 2 is what we did. We took all those out around there. Now the boss is going to be targeting 3 and 4 tiles out and around himself. So these flowers are in the fringes of being hit. This one up here, and this one right here, and these obviously. So we need to make sure we get those cleared out. SP Sophia in position. We teleport Miguel over so they can reach that, and we mark the boss with bounty hunting so we can get those buffs for attacking them. And there they are. We don't play around with that. We just knock it off instantly with SP Roia. Dandelion comes over and gets some knockback on these bad boys, and then defeats one. We're dealing that damage to the boss by doing so. It's really good stuff. Come over and start clearing some of these bad boys out. Good knockback there. Get that going. Those white flowers are of the utmost importance to get rid of first. The blue you can kind of neglect, but by defeating them you are doing damage to the boss. As you can see, we come in, get out of the AoE range. I like to kind of just move in on the boss and let them move in on us, and then hit them with those AoEs afterwards. Oddly enough, the flowers at the top of the screen, I think I'm out of their range, so they don't even make a move on our people there at all. They just sit tight and wait almost. It's really interesting. So they may have a very limited range, or a limited range, I should say, with their teleports. There it is. Miguel's in the swamp. And the blue flowers teleported over. Buffing everyone up. Going in with the co-attack. Getting those hits in on the boss. Beautiful stuff there. A little bit of AoE to get that blue flower and the boss at the same time. We're going to do the same thing with SP Roia as well. Great damage. And we walk out of there. As you can see, plenty of debuffs on the boss. Activating Dandelion's aura because of those void slashes off of our units. As you can see right here, got those void slashes, and of course it inflicts those level 2 debuffs. This is really, really big. And then of course we got his aura. We're doing extra damage. Everybody except for Tear and Miguel. Who Miguel doesn't need the extra damage. Dude's just a goat anyways. Flowers don't take an action. They just sit up there and wait. So now we move to the next round, which is the third ring out. We want to get these sprouts taken care of. And then at this point we were like, well, let's go knock these bad boys off and do some damage to the boss. Why not? We got the mobility, we got the ability, and it's free damage. Great stuff. Here they come. And so these flowers are the best way to kill the boss, obviously. When you defeat them, it does damage to the boss, so you absolutely want to make sure you're targeting them. Those white flowers have to go. So we come over to Miguel. Good stuff. Now they're all scorched. Good damage. Beautiful. Clearing them out, mowing them down. Lawnmower squad. Scorch doing its thing. Punishing it for just taking the action. Miguel, the only character to my knowledge that laughs in the face of death. Love it. Miguel, the GOAT. And stuff there, knocking it back. Getting rid of these white flowers, like I said, really, really important stuff. Knocking that bad boy off is important. Get it gone. And getting rid of that white flower. Espirolia, amazing. And so, there you have it. That's my completion of difficulty 6, the flower. The biggest differences that you're seeing between difficulty 5 and 6 on each of those fights, obviously, is the ability of those units and the strength of them, but also with the lower zone, there's Tranquilo is summoning more units, and you're doing less damage to him by defeating those units. And then on the upper zone, the entanglement is creating more flowers, has more sprouts on the map, and is targeting more of your units with that debuff, the polluted CW is what it's called. And so it's just more of the same. It's just an increased level, increased numbers, and so on and so forth. Once you understand the mechanics of the game, you can happily pursue any of those fights. And yeah, hopefully you're able to take it on and tackle it. There's a lot of freedom in what you can use. There's no meta units aren't what you're stuck with here in these fights. I have to stress that. Don't limit yourself to what's quote unquote meta. This has more or less turned everything up on its head, and units that normally I guess wouldn't rank well according to quote unquote metas have a tremendous amount of utility here. As you saw, Ojiroia is amazing. Miguel is amazing. Dandelion, amazing. Really, really good. And so I'd highly suggest you to play who you're comfortable with, and as long as you have some form of knockback to deal with those flowers on difficulty 6 upper level, I think you're pretty solid. And then you absolutely want to bring in your defenders and people that are able to cover and or utilize alert skills on the lower. I hope this has been beneficial to you. A huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. Tremendous support and appreciation is going your way because you allow me to make the content, to make the pulls on the characters, to show a different layer of the game, and that hopefully is benefiting everybody who's watching these videos. And if you're interested in joining our Patreon, make sure you click the link down below. There, it will be in our description. We'd be happy to have you, as well as a link to our Discord where we talk about all things sort of Convallaria and then some. Please feel free to join us there as well. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you've gotten to this point, please make sure you drop me a like and a subscribe. It really helps me out. I wish you the best in all of your adventures in Sword of Convallaria. Take care, and until next time, bye.